put some respect on my name. Not R-Truth, but Ron Killings. It was a definitive statement, and it was a restart for him, and he had the audience eating out of the palm of his hand last night. I can't say enough good things about Ron Killings last night.
Ron Killings is synonymous with entertainment. He went as far as to cut his hair off, which was symbolic of getting away from the entertaining R-Truth, and now going to give you the very serious Ron Killings. Since the fans have never been invested in serious professional wrestler Ron Killings and have always been invested in sports entertainer R-Truth, do you think the fans are going to be as behind him?
I think they are. I think they showed that last night. I really do.
I think last night we saw people react to a man standing on top of an announce table who just came back the other night from blasting John Cena in the head with a championship belt. Everything that had happened on social media. Something struck me odd last night, and I don't know if you picked up on it, and it didn't last long, but it did happen. Did you hear the what chants for Ron Killings in the beginning of his promo?
No, I did not catch that.
I think it happened 2 or 3 times. Now, I'm not suggesting that that entire audience was chanting what. I'm not even suggesting that half of the audience was chanting what. But I was shocked to hear some what chants when he started off, and I was like, oof, that is not good. However, it ended, and it ended quickly. Other than him cutting his hair away, do you care about Ron Killings?
I do, but you need to follow it up strong. Case in point, like I brought up Mark Henry after doing a lot of comedy, and now presenting himself in a way where you look at this guy like, holy shit, he's a threat, and he could become a new world champion. They have to have that moment for Ron Killings. Like, he made the statement, that's great. But now we need, whatever that follow-up is going to be, we now need to see a follow-up. Or this could end quickly.
What do you think that follow-up looks like? The follow-up will most likely come in the form of let's just say he's in the King of the Ring as the mystery entrant, or if he's not. The follow-up is going to be in a wrestling match, right? Where
yes,
Ron Killings will wrestle in a more serious manner, probably the Ron Killings that we saw in TNA. It worked then, and I know why it worked then. As a matter of fact, Truth was the first NWA champion or first TNA champion when he was over there, right?
He was NWA champion, yeah.
First NWA champion when TNA started off. So now we're going to have to emotionally invest in a person who's doing stuff that we never really emotionally invested in before.
You're going to look at him in a complete, I think that, and that's why he cut his hair, because you're going to now look at him in a completely different way, in a different light.
And I felt he when he got away from Truth, then he went back to the line of the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. I don't think I wanted to hear that last night. Once you cut that hair off, I never want to hear the name Truth again. Don't remind me of what you are trying to get away from. You cut your hair off in front of the world because the hair was represented R-Truth. I don't want to hear it no more. You're Ron Killings. End of story. Forget about the tagline about the truth. Forget about mentioning the truth. If this is the serious direction you want to go in, don't remind me of what's in your past. Do I think last night was good? Yes. But there was something about last night. I thought it worked for I thought it worked for Truth. I thought it worked for the fans. They were obviously shocked about the hair cutting, which takes me back to our master's class about 4 months ago. Can shock and awe still be done in the world of wrestling? If you haven't checked out that episode of the master's class, watch what Truth did last night. Go back and listen to that master's class on shock and awe. You see how it all comes together. people are very shocked. You got a holy shit chant. How come they didn't bleep out the holy shit chants last night?
They did not. I actually have, because I think they wanted that segment to be as impactful as
so
possible.
When it's convenient for them, they let it ride.
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's the same thing, Bully, with the cursing. Like where, like, and I'll say it again, at Elimination Chamber, they cut out cursing until Cody Rhodes said, "Go fuck yourself" to The Rock. They didn't cut that. They didn't beep that out. It's again, we could do an entire show on that. It bothers me. You kept that holy shit chant in for a reason, and that was to make that segment impactful. But then you're gonna edit it and you're gonna do it. That I have a major problem with that. A major problem with that.
If you want to edit something out of a show, edit the what chants. The what chants really, and I'm actually not being serious, because I don't think anything should be edited. Let people chant what they want to chant. But if you're going to do, edit something, bleep out the damn what chants. I thought last night was effective, but the very first thing that I said to myself when the segment was over is what you just said just now, the follow-up. What am I getting next? We're getting away from the entertaining guy, and we're going to go to the serious guy. I'm not used to the serious guy. I need to see what the serious guy is going to do to make me care about him. Now we're going to get a bunch of wrestling moves from R-Truth. Are people going to be into it? Does he have enough equity built up that it's going to carry over into the wrestling matches?
Now, here's the thing. Like, you saw him attack Cena at Money in the Bank. The shock. Oh, my God, he's back. You have that statement in that promo from last night where he's like, "I'm not R-Truth, I'm Ron Killings." I think going back to the conversation we're having about 15 minutes ago about the King of the Ring tournament, it has to be Ron Killings that's inserted in King of the Ring. And if he is, Bully, then if they do insert him into the King of the Ring tournament, he has to win, right? Because if he doesn't and he loses, what does that do for Ron Killings?
If you got that lightning in a bottle, you have to know how to harness it and use it. Because the idea is not to keep the lightning in the bottle. The idea is to catch it, harness it, hone it, and then use that electricity for something. To me, if you're going to catch the lightning in a bottle, the idea is to use it all the way up to a world championship match with Cena. That's the payoff. That's what the people want to see. Whether or not you put the strap on Ron Killings or not, we can debate that all day long. I don't think Truth needs to win. I think Truth needs to be carried off into the sunset, ride off into the sunset on the shoulders of the boys. Ron Killings can get pinned right in the middle of the ring. 1, 2, 3 by John Cena. And when John Cena leaves that arena and Ron Killings is still on the mat selling an AA or whatever Cena beat him with, and don't move until the people start to give you a standing ovation. Then you start to get to your feet. Then the entire locker room empties out, and then they carry you off into the sunset.
Bully, what they're doing with Ron Killings right now, it's custom made that it has to be John Cena. John Cena, that's his hero, the fun that they always had with that character with John Cena. He mentioned John Cena in his promo last night. He came back to attack John Cena. John Cena is your big champion in the company. You can't now have Ron Killings go after a secondary champion or go after somebody else. Or next week, somebody attacks Ron Killings from behind. Like, I'm just using it as an example. But like Chad Gable comes out and attacks Ron Killings from behind, and it sets up a story between Ron Killings and Chad Gable. I'm sorry. You just said something that you have to follow up on. You have to follow up on Ron Killings and John Cena. It's the only way that you're gonna get people to forget about R-Truth and buy into Ron Killings. It can't be. I don't think there's anybody on the roster that could fill that void and play that role other than John Cena. Am I wrong?
But no, you're not wrong at all. But check this out. If you're going just by storyline, what happened at Saturday night's main event between Cena and Killings? Cena won the match by blasting Truth with the belt, right?
Yeah, it was the low blow and then the belt shot.
At Money in the Bank, Truth jumped the rails and reseated John Cena, hit him with the belt, and then Cody got the win, yes?
Yes.
Truth has already gotten his receipt. And I love it when you're silent.
No, but now I'm thinking, like, then for you to buy in to a character that you have loved for almost 2 decades in the WWE, for you to buy into this new Ron Killings, this is a new guy, this is a credible guy. Like, who is on the roster that fills that role of John Cena?
I have no idea. The story is with John Cena, but according to what I've seen on TV, Ron Killings already got his receipt.
That makes me a little now, Bully, from what you just said, I'm a little bit worried. Because the follow-up is so important. I'm not saying that it can't be done. I'm not saying it can't be, but this follow-up is so important for the WWE Universe.
Cena briefly spoke about Truth in his promo last night before, you've invested your time and your money in the wrong guy. He was a sideshow. He was this, he was that. So Cena keeps Truth alive with Cena's name. And then Punk comes out, and now all of a sudden we're on to Punk and Cena. So Cena is watering the seeds. Or actually, he's replanting some seeds. Because if the only way I logically see Truth getting back to Cena is through the King of the Ring. Because if I'm R-Truth, I already got John Cena back. You blasted me with a belt and cost me the championship. I blasted you with the belt and I cost you the victory. And I cost you to lose to Cody Rhodes, the last guy you probably wanted to lose to. So now how do we get them back on track? Serious guy, serious Ron Killings, enters serious wrestling tournament, becomes King of the Ring, gets to Cena. We don't know what the terms are of his contract extension. We don't know the length of it, do we?
Nothing.
It could end at SummerSlam. It could end at I don't know. It could be John Cena's last match. It could be WrestleMania next year. The stars lined up for Truth. If we are to believe the reports that are out there, let's for a moment put credibility and stock into the reports that Nick Khan personally called Truth, and Truth said everything that he wanted to do, and they agreed to give him just about everything, including using his real name so he could build equity and stock in his real name so that when he leaves, already planning for the departure, he has equity and stock built in the name. What's the end result here? What's the end result? Killings has to get himself back in. And the end result is a serious final run for Ron Killings. Right? That's what he wants. Yeah, but serious final run.
And Bully, it has to be not just impactful, hugely impactful.
So let me ask you, hold on. Yes, I'm agreeing with you. It has to be hugely impactful. You got the lightning in a bottle. You got to know how to use it now. 1.21 gigawatts.
Yep.
Who's John Cena's last match? Cody? Ron Killings? Punk? Orton? Like, what makes the most sense now for that last? Do we really see John Cena riding off into the sunset as a bad guy? Or do we see John Cena maybe on his last day turning back good and leaving?
It could be Cody. It seems like it's Cody. Bully, after what I've seen these last few weeks, would it shock you if it was Logan Paul as John Cena's last match?
Nah.
John Cena's John Cena is grooming Logan Paul to be the next guy. They already planted a couple seeds where there's dissension between Logan Paul and John Cena. If you want to make John Cena a babyface on his way out, I don't think there's anybody better to put him in the ring with than Logan Paul.
I mean, yes, that comment makes sense. I would have to hear the pitch, because I think that would be a letdown to the WWE universe. Unless you can build Logan Paul up to be such a heel that Cena's the only one that can take him down. I love as of right now, here's what just popped into my head a couple minutes ago. I love the thought of Ron Killings being able to bring his friend back.
I hate to say this, and I'm going to say it, and then I'm going to quickly move off. Do we need to see The Rock get involved by the end of this? Because it was the Rock that Cena aligned himself with. Do we have to see The Rock at the end of the day in this story?
Unfortunately, I think Rock has left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths, especially with not showing up to WrestleMania, but with that comment that he put on Instagram directly right at you when he reminded me, it's a work. It's all a work. It's always been a work since day one. Okay, well, if I'm going to believe you, Rock, that means the Ron Killing situation was all a work.
Yeah.
From day one. That's it. Ron Killings is a work. How do I know? The Rock already told me it was.
Yeah,
because it's all a work.
And now people, it's so funny. So many people are angry at the notion that this could have been a work, and now a lot of people are leaning towards that it was a work because of the words that have been said, the merchandise that is now on sale. Again, nobody knows for sure. Here's one thing we do know for sure is that John Cena only has 19 dates left on his contract. That's not matches, that's appearances. So we're now at the back half of what we're going to see from John Cena these last 6 months. Bully, that's not a lot of time. That's not a lot of appearances, because you would think, Bully, we're going to see a lot of John Cena as we get closer to when he says goodbye in December. So I don't know how much John Cena we're going to see leading in to SummerSlam. If you had to guess who's going to be the mystery entrant in the King of the Ring tournament, most likely it's going to be Ron Killings, right? That's who I would bet my dollar on. So if you were a betting man, I know that you're not because you don't like to lose money. If you were a betting man, who are you betting on? Ron Killings winning the tournament or Cody winning the tournament?
If you have to put asses in seats, Cody.
But who do you think is going to win the King of the Ring tournament and challenge John Cena at SummerSlam? Ron Killings?
If you're going to use the lightning that you caught in the bottle, and you got to give them... Remember, there's two nights. Okay? Ron Killings. If you're going to use the lightning that you have in the bottle, Ron Killings. Because if Ron enters the tournament and doesn't win, no bueno. If they didn't have plans for him to win the King of the Ring, keep him away from it and do something totally different. But whatever he's doing totally different has to lead him back to John Cena, even though he's already got his receipt on John Cena. But John Cena did decide to talk about Ron Killings again last night.
And Ron Killings mentioned John Cena in his promo too. So,
but what as a fan? Let's whittle this down. What do you care about the most when it comes to Ron Killings right now? First thing that comes to mind, what do you care about? What do you want from him?
What I want from him is to kind of like to excuse the term, but finish his story. He's come back for a reason. The fans wanted him back for a reason. What's that reason? Why? What is his why right now?
Because they're upset that a guy that's well-liked got let go.
All right, but now he's back. So He's back on their TV. So
what do you want to see from him?
I want to see him win a championship.
You want to see him win a world championship?
I do. I want to see
Why?
Ron Killings.
How come you want to win a world championship now, but not the day before he got let go?
because this is a different person. R-Truth was what Ron Killings said last night. He was entertaining. He made us laugh. He was fun. If you're going to get me to buy into this new personality and this new person who is the real Ron Killings as a wrestler, well, what's the ultimate goal for a wrestler? The ultimate goal for a wrestler is to win a world championship.
And if I would have asked you this last Saturday, which was the day before Truth put out that tweet, you would never be saying these words.
I would not. I would not be. But this is different. Though it's a different world now, especially for him.
Then anything short of winning that world championship is going to be a disappointment in your eyes?
In a way, yes, because R-Truth had a championship match at Saturday night's main event and lost. So now you're going to give Ron Killings that same opportunity and end it with a loss? I would be disappointed in that, yes.
R-Truth and Ron Killings are the exact same person, okay? So you're telling me that because he cut his hair off, you're going to get a different match between Ron Killings and John Cena than you got between R-Truth? Listen, I know it's pro wrestling. It's sports entertainment. We can make it to be anything we want. But you got to give me a reason to buy in to the change of attitude.
And that's what I mean. You got to get me to buy in. Like Mark Henry, and I said this yesterday, Mark Henry needed to win the World Heavyweight Championship. For me to buy into now the Hall of Pain and this whole new character after years of being Sexual Chocolate and all these different characters where he was a quote-unquote sports entertainer, for me to buy in to Hall of Pain, I needed to see him win that world championship. And he did.
But with Mark Henry, there was the visual aid of when you first saw Mark Henry and this big, bad mother trucker, and you saw him being the sports entertainer, right? You were like, okay, it's entertaining. I'm kind of on board. Like, I get it. All right. Okay, ha, ha, ha. The hand, Mae Young, blah, blah, blah. But then when he did the Hall of Pain and the thing with Cena, you were like, that's the guy.
Yes.
That's the person I've been waiting to see. Are you going to do that with Ron Killings?
I don't know. Because that's why Bully, this follow-up is the most important follow-up of his career.
I would venture to say that every step that they take with Ron Killings is going to be important. This is why I have a problem with the Truth thing. I cannot think about Truth. Every time I see Ron Killings, I need to get a more serious side of it. And serious does not mean wrestling moves. Because Ron Killings did a lot of wrestling moves in TNA. Dives, corkscrews, all of this stuff. The jumping splits, the this, the that. I need to see a different person. I need to see the cutting of the hair last night should be symbolic of Lincoln Hawk when he would turn his hat around in Over the Top. A completely different person. I don't want to see Ron Killings laugh. I don't want to see him smile. I don't want to see him crack a joke. I need to buy in. I don't know what the length of time of this new person is going to be, but every time I see him, I should feel the same way about Ron Killings as you felt about Mark Henry.
Yeah, all right. Well,
is that all fair?
It is fair. Or he needs to have that Becky Lynch moment where you see him bloodied. Because when have you ever seen R-Truth bloodied?
If you want me to really care about Truth, then absolutely. Somebody needs to hand him his ass. But if somebody other than John Cena hands him his ass, now we're off on a different road.